Hey, welcome back. Sorry for coming late for this video because I saw Obsession, I want to say last Tuesday. But I want to get into this. This was interesting. So I knew from the first scene that Bear was the obsessed one because he was practicing how to talk to Nikki and had the poor waitress sitting down pretending to be Nikki so he can try to role play. Like I knew he was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs then. Before he makes the wish, I think it's the movie is set up for you kind of feel sorry for him, like, oh, he has a crush on this woman, a friend of his, and she sees him like a friend and all that. There was a scene before he made the wish where I think Nikki was like, Bear, no, he's my friend. And Ian, who is Bear's friend, he kind of looked at Bear like, dang, I'm sorry, man. It was kind of like secondhand embarrassment. So this whole Willow wish thing comes about because Nikki lost one of her crystals or something, I believe. So he was in there looking for that. Then he runs across this Willow wish thing, which is a stick that you break. Let me tell you something. Sticks and witchcraft and wishes are having a moment because if you've seen Weapons, it was that same type of deal. Only you didn't make a wish, you cast a spell on something. Like, with Weapons, you took that person's hair or some part of their belongings, wrapped it around the twig and then break it. Whereas with this Willow wish, you just make the wish, then break the twig, right? So when he makes the wish, it happens immediately. And you can see the real Nikki, I think, was like, tried to come back out. She was like, whoa, what was that? And then I don't want to call her possessed Nikki, but I guess the wish Nikki, the one who, because the real Nikki does not have control over her body once Bear makes this wish. So it just gradually gets bad. It goes from them. She's immediately just totally into him because his words were, "I wish Nikki loved me more than anything else in the world," and that's just. I don't want anyone to love me more than anything else in the world. That's too much. I need my space. I need my me time. And so with him making that wish, she just became like glue. Like there was a scene where they all work in a record shop. Him, Nikki, Ian, and then this other girl who's in the group, Sarah. They work in this record shop, and Nikki was just in the background staring at Bear. Like he was having a conversation with Ian, I think. And she was just like, that's all she could think about was him. And, he couldn't even get out the bed without her screaming, no, don't leave, and all this stuff. This one scene early on, I didn't understand it until I was looking online. So the scene where she packs his lunch and she gives him pictures. And one picture was of her and it said "not me" on it. And I was like, not me. Like, is she saying it's all about you, not me? Like, is this some kind of weird submission thing? And when I was online, they were saying that was the real Nikki telling him, "Hey, this is not me." And they were saying that Nikki at that time didn't know that Bear was the one who made the wish. Now, how they came up with that part, I don't know, but I guess because she said not me. Yeah, that makes sense. And she made his lunch out of his dead cat because his cat got into his antidepressants or whatever. I'm assuming they were antidepressants. Got into his pills and died. Why she fed that man his cat, I don't know, but I was dying laughing because I was like, wow, not Garfield, okay? Like, it's bad enough your pet dies and then someone's like, here, and it's damn filleted Rocky. Oh my God. So it just gradually gets worse and worse. But Baron, if there is a villain in this movie, it is Baron because Nikki was getting crazier and crazier, right? And it's like he, by the time he called the number, so much stuff had gone on. And he was like, he wanted to take the wish back. Then he was like, well, can you alter it? And it's like, do you not understand that this woman does not have free will right now? So you, she's hurting herself. She's standing in one spot all day while you're at work, peeing and crapping on herself because she's literally like, do you really care about Nikki? Because if you cared about her, first of all, if you cared about her, you would have made that wish in the first place. But if you cared about her, secondly, you wouldn't have her going through all this stuff. It was sad. Now there's this the scene where he tried to have a boys' night, right? His friend was like, look, if Nikki's not, because nobody knows about this wish but him right now. So Ian's like, Nikki, if Nikki loves you, trusts you, it should be a problem with you going to boys' night. Of course that didn't happen. She came along. And there wasn't just guys there, but I think Ian was like, look, you're spending so much time with her, you can hardly work, blah blah blah. So they were doing this, playing little like games. And she read this because Nikki's, an aspiring writer, and she read this short story. Now, when I was listening to this, I was like, ew, because it was like about Hansel and Gretel, and it was like sexual, and she was saying like, oh, want you inside of me. I'm paraphrasing, but something about inside of her. I'm like, aren't Hansel and Gretel brother and sister? What is this? And um, when I was looking on TikTok, they were saying that the real Nikki, the one that had free will before the wish, looked at Bear as a brother. See, this whole time, even though Nikki is doing all this stuff, I think the real Nikki is trying to kind of fight through. Um, the movie does, in my opinion, a good job of us not really knowing, like, is her soul out of her body? Is she just like physically there, but like is her mind, is she just like kind of sitting back like an out of body experience? There's this one scene where he called the number on the Willow Wish thing, and the guy was like, do you want to talk to her? And you hear Nikki screaming in the background. So it's like, what the, like, is the real Nikki trapped in some kind of weird loop or something? I thought that was creative. But then this one scene, I actually thought she was gonna beat Sarah up, but Bear picked up the card and he was like, kiss the person to your left. And Sarah was on his left, and Nikki was sitting like across from them. And so she got up, walked behind Sarah. Now Sarah should have got up and ran because first of all, you getting up all slow, walking behind me like, what are you doing behind me? I already personally don't like people being behind me because it's like, what are you doing, right? I thought she was gonna like beat her ass right there, but she just moved her chair and then then she got in Sarah's place and got on her knees and tried to kiss Bear. And it's like, Bear, you can't possibly like this. Now, one scene that was sad was when the real Nikki was talking to him. He heard the real Nikki talking. He couldn't see because again, like I said, we don't know where the real Nikki is, but the fake Nikki, I guess I should call her, was in bed sleep. And the real Nikki was begging Bear to kill her. You know, that's how bad it was for her. And he said, why is it so bad being with me? And she was like, I was never with you. You know what I'm saying? And there's this debate online about when he had sex with her. I'm pretty sure he had sex with her multiple times after the wish, but there was one scene where he had sex with her. I guess for the first time. And a lot of people are asking, was that rape? Because that she didn't have free will. That was her body, but the real Nikki was like again somewhere else. So I don't know if that scene was made to be open to interpretation because it's like if you look at the definition of rape, is basically someone forcing themselves on you without your consent. Rape can be many different type of things though. Basically, if your consent is not given and it's a sexual thing, right? Um, so it's like, is Bear a rapist? And when he was on the phone talking to the Willow Wish guy, he said he was telling Bear the only way that you can stop this wish is if you die. And so when he told him that, I thought he was either going to try to kill Nikki or kill himself. But I did think he was maybe going to try to kill Nikki because if he killed Nikki, it would make sense that the curse would go or the wish would go away because she would be dead, right? Because at this point, I'm looking at him like he's a selfish person, right? You've had the real Nikki tell you, well, I don't know if she told him that she wasn't with him. I don't know if that was before or after he called that number, but it's like, this isn't the Nikki that you quote unquote love or fell for before the wish. So we have some, what's the word? We have some casualties in this. So poor Sarah, this was so sad. And this made me kind of pissed off with Bear even more is that he snuck out to see Sarah because Sarah was like, I need to talk to you. If you don't come to me, I'm coming to you. Now, by this point, Nikki is crazy as all hell. Wish Nikki is crazy as all hell, but you think it's a good idea to go talk to another woman. I don't care what the conversation is. You think it's a good idea to go talk to another woman in the middle of the night, sit in a car with her, and did you really think that Nikki, I'm pretty sure she probably got damn air tags, all kind of trackers and stuff. Like that was messed up. And then poor Sarah had to get her damn head bashed onto a brick like 15 times. I will say this as far as horror is concerned. I did like that scene lingered though because everybody knew that watched that movie that Nikki was going to pop up. But the scene lingered for a while that I think you got relaxed, and then boom, there go Dickie. So I do appreciate that as a horror fan, not having to be so what's the word? Dang. I get on here and I forget words I want to use. Predictable. Like we knew she was coming, but they made it long to where we were like, okay, well maybe she ain't coming. Then boom. And Sarah, she's like wanting to go to college. She has an acceptance letter. And then Bear opens the letter later on and found out she got accepted into college. Like people are literally dying because you can't handle rejection. And the crazy part is, right before he made the wish, when he was dropping her off at home, she was like, "Do you like me?" And he said, "No, just friends," whatever the fuck he said. But it's like you had the opportunity to say, "Yeah, I'm feeling you." You know what I'm saying? So Sarah, before she gets her head bashed into the brick, was taught basically. She told him that Nikki and Ian had a thing before. Now I'm feeling some kind of way about Ian because I feel like he should have been told Barron, "Look, me and Nikki, we spent some time together. You don't even got to get into the sex part unless Bear asks. It's like me and Nikki, we spent some time together, so I was just letting you know that before you try to holler at her." He should have said that. But no, you want to take part in some role play shit with this waitress at the beginning of the movie with your like. So Bear doesn't not Bear. Ian doesn't believe Bear when he's talking about this Willow Wish thing. So he broke another because Bear had bought another one, right? But you could only make one wish, so Bear himself wasn't able to reverse the wish he made. So Ian was like, "Man, I wish for $1 billion," and money starts pouring from the damn roof. And the look on Bear's face was like, "Are you fucking kidding me? My life is in shambles and you wish for money." That's what Bear should have wished for, $1 billion. That's what you should have wished for in the first place. That's what anybody with half a brain, anybody with a quarter of a brain would have wished for $1 billion. Hell, I'll take 50 stacks. Give me some money. I don't care about somebody liking me right now, okay? Gas is just now coming below $4. But anyway, so he decides, "Look, I can't do this no more." He takes his pills to overdose. And there's another Willow Wish thing that he has. And this is when we find out that he really didn't love her for real. He was just lusting and loved the idea of her because when the fake Nikki made the wish for him to love her, he stopped what he was doing because he was hiding in the bathroom trying to overdose. He stopped, he went out, he smiled, he looked at her, they kissed. See, if he actually loved her for real, his whole attitude and his mannerisms wouldn't have changed like that. And that's how we know you really didn't care about this girl, you cared about yourself. And you were the one that was obsessed, not her. She doesn't have any free will, so she can't really make any decisions. You're the one that's obsessed. Two people died because she blew a hole in Ian's head when he came through the door talking about he got some money. She took Sarah's body, stripped her naked, put her in a chair. I don't know what that was about. So he eventually dies from his attempt at suicide. And the fake Nikki's crying, but then once he actually, I guess his soul leaves his body, the real Nikki comes out. And she pushes him off her. She was just crying. "What have you done? What have you done?" And it's like, then the credits start rolling. I'm like, So is Nikki gonna go to prison? Cause there's three dead bodies in the house. Like there, three people died, including him, all because you could. And this is another part that pissed me off. When he was in the car with Sarah, right before Nikki bashed her head in, they kind of had a moment, and she was feeling him, and he was like, "Oh, you mean somebody like you?" You sat there and put Nikki through all that bullshit with that damn willow wish twig just for you to turn around and start liking somebody else. And Bear wasn't a bad looking guy. Like, maybe you're awkward or something. Like, you couldn't find anybody. You had to twist this girl, and now three people are dead. It was sad, but it was good. It was a nice, um, the jump scares weren't flat. Like a lot of times in horror movies, like you it'll be a jump scare and then it's just a cat walking across the floor. And it's like, what the hell is that? I was screaming in the theater. I was the only one in the theater. I went and saw this at 9:05 in the morning on Tuesday, on a Tuesday, so I can watch it in peace, right? But there was some scenes where I screamed like it scared me for real. Like when he was asleep and Nikki was standing in that corner talking about some, I like to watch you sleep. Go back to sleep. And she started moving all crazy. I was like, what is going on? I hollered out probably like three times during this movie. So, but no one was there to witness it except for whoever was running the projector at the top. Other than them, I had free range to scream and holler off the parts that had me scared. But anyway, listen, let me know what you think about Obsession, man. This has been a hit of, I don't want to say the summer because it came out a little bit before the summer, but I think this is the biggest hit next to the Michael biopic this year. So let me know what you think about it. Shout out to my subscribers. Shout out to the rest of you who are not subscribed, but you can hit that button for me. I very much appreciate it. Trying to get to 1,000 by the end of this year. Peace and blessings to every last one of you watching. Until next time.